Okay, so hello everybody and welcome back to my channel.
Don't tell me I ran out of time if it takes the rest of my life.
So today I'm going to be doing a mental health Q&A, and I basically put up one of those stickers on my Instagram story, and you guys delivered and gave me a bunch of questions, so I'm just going to be answering them, and I'm just going to go straight into it because I'm aware that I ramble a lot. A lot of people tell me that I ramble a lot, and I'm starting to get quite self-conscious of it, so I'm just going to go straight into the video. A lot of people have been asking how have I been lately. Generally I've been okay. I've been doing really well in terms of safety, and I've been trying my best to stay safe and to not engage in any bad behaviours, which I think I've been pretty good at. It's been like 3 weeks or so since I had an incident, so I think that's pretty good, and I'm kind of on the right sort of direction there. But that doesn't mean that I'm not still kind of having bad thoughts and urges, which I most definitely am. And I don't know, I don't really want to have a negative start to this video, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And I've generally been doing okay, and although things kind of sometimes get a bit overwhelming in my head, I genuinely think that I've been able to cope with it quite well, so fingers crossed that's how it continues. So a question that I've got quite a lot of, a few people have asked this. I don't really know why, I don't know if I've been coming across this way or people are just genuinely intrigued, but a lot of people have said, have you struggled with food, or have you had any problems with eating or ED thoughts, or have you had an ED in the past, so an eating disorder in the past? I don't really talk about stuff like this, even though I've briefly mentioned not eating and binging. Those two kind of sides that I've struggled with has been kind of my warning signs as such to my mental health deteriorating. I've never really spoken about it just as a topic, and it's probably because it's kind of still very much there. I really don't like talking about it for some reason. It's embarrassing to me. I don't know, it doesn't make sense in my head, it doesn't make sense in I don't know, it just doesn't. So I don't know, but yeah, pretty much I have struggled with kind of behaviours, and it's really weird to talk about actually, but I've never been diagnosed, but my weight has been fluctuating quite extremely since I was 13, so it's kind of been going up and down quite significantly. At the moment it's quite stable, that's good, and that's why no one ever really, because I think it was problematic the most before I was referred to mental health services, so no one picked up on it. Everyone just thought I wanted to, get all healthy, lose a few kilos, but I still have that guilt every single day of eating too much or not eating enough, which is kind of tricky to balance, because if I eat a normal amount, then I really don't want to trigger anyone, so I'm going to just put a trigger warning for the rest of the video actually, just in case, but I'm not going to try and get into anything specific, because I want this to be a light-hearted video, but yeah, I have that guilt from eating at all, but then if that's not enough food to sustain myself, I feel guilty for not giving myself what I I don't practice what I preach. I'm not looking after myself, I'm telling everyone, every one of you to look after yourselves, so it kind of does tear me apart a little bit. I don't know, that guilt is immense, and I still struggle with that day to day, and I guess that's why I don't talk about it, and I probably won't talk about it much. Yeah, so let's just move swiftly on. I'm sorry if I keep looking different directions, obviously the camera lens is there, and then I don't know, I'm not good with this sort of thing, Do you feel guilty about having scars? I know I worry about how it will affect me in the future. I think I have times when I do feel guilty about them, or I am ashamed of them. and then there are other times where I'm not, and I'm just like, screw that, it's my body and I can't change it, and there's like nothing I can do, and I've just got to go out there and own it. Like, I'm so comfortable with wearing my arms out and showing my scars, but at the same time I'm actually very insecure, especially in front of people that I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing, because I think I definitely do encourage body positivity in all ways, so including things like scars and, you know, all sorts. So for me, I like to just go out there and, you know, do what I like. Like, I want to wear short sleeves, I'm going to wear short sleeves. But obviously I do get paranoid that people are staring and stuff like that, but that's normal, and over time it will definitely lessen, like those thoughts will lessen, because they are for me. At the start I was like petrified. I would like be shaking when I walked out the door, but I knew I really wanted to wear short sleeves because I liked this top, or it was hot, or all sorts of reasons. But now it's kind of lessening, like the thoughts, those paranoid thoughts lessening, and I'm much more comfortable to go out, especially like, you know, if it is hot out or stuff, you know, it's your right, you've got a right at the end of the day. But also, in all honesty, most people are really nice and won't actually say anything, and if they do, then they'll be nice about it. Just ask out of curiosity. No one will be mean as such. Like, it's rare that you'll come across someone who's mean, because realistically, who looks at people's arms? You're walking down the street, okay, unless you self-harm yourself, who actually walks through the street just to look at people's arms or legs or whatever? That's just not how the world really works, is it? People are minding their own business. So try and it's tricky, because I don't want to just say, oh, try and get over it, because that's not how it works. Like, it's really tricky, but over time I promise it will get easier. And also, people just won't and aren't really allowed to discriminate against you because of your scars, or just because of your mental health in general. So don't really worry about the future, and especially jobs and relationships and all sorts like that. There's no need to worry, especially if you're on the path to recovery, because obviously if you're thinking about future, I'm hoping that you want that future. So you know, take your steps to get there, and eventually your scars will just be scars. They won't be you, and they don't define you anyways. Like, do you get what I'm saying? I don't really know what I'm saying anymore, to be honest, so I'll just move on. Okay, so the next question is, how did getting a diagnosis impact you? And quite a lot of people have said this, like, what do I feel about my diagnosis and stuff. So it's kind of confusing. Basically, I was diagnosed, or have been diagnosed with, so and so. It's kind of confusing because I've got a working diagnosis of a personality disorder, which means I have a personality disorder, but they are confused as to which, and there's kind of a few sort of things floating around, but I reckon that everyone's going to conclude to borderline personality disorder. I've also been diagnosed, I'm not 100% certain, but they refer to me as having ASD, even though I'm on the borderline. Basically, I've basically got autism, but it's on kind of like I don't know what part of the spectrum I'm on. It's not like the best news in the world to know that you're potentially diagnosed with something like an illness that is lifelong, potentially. Both BPD and ASD are lifelong illnesses. It's kind of scary, but at the same time I know that it's kind of opened up doors now for me to get the right treatment, medication, whatever I need, and that's what I'm going to keep thinking of every time I think of the diagnosis, not the fact that, oh, I've got a label attached to me, or I'm going to have a label attached to me. I think everyone should think this way, like, even if you've got a lifelong illness, it's the way you deal with it and the way you learn to manage and cope with it, rather than the fact that you have it. So yeah, I hope that made sense. So next question is, how are you coping with Ramadan so far? So this is one of the probably the only questions that isn't mental health related, but it kind of is. I'm coping really well with Ramadan. If you don't know what it is, basically I'm a Muslim, a really bad one at that. I I feel like such a bad Muslim, but anyways, I am, my family is, and we all fast for Ramadan. It's where you don't eat or drink during the daylight hours for 30 days. It's usually like a month long. I'm doing all right. Obviously it's probably about 6:15. It is 6:15, so I've only got 3 hours left. Being distracted is really good, like being able to like film a YouTube video, for example. Like I was so thirsty, like I was so tempted to grab a bottle of water and just drink it probably like an hour ago, but since I've sat down and filmed, my head's kind of turned to something else, and you know, just counting away the hours, I forgot how good water tastes. But like it makes you appreciate things, and that's why I really like this month. Like even though it's really tricky for me sometimes, I really appreciate it. And I want to go back to even though I hate talking about it, I really want to go back to the whole ED behaviours. But like the beginning was actually really easy. I'm just dehydrated and tired, and yeah, it's kind of triggering. It reminds me of about 2-3 years ago when I was really struggling with food and like my weight and stuff, so I'm just trying not to slip down. So the next question is, has lockdown been good for your mental health? And no, it really hasn't. And the only reason I'd say that is because it stopped me from being able to move forward. It's prevented me basically from being able to move on with my life and stuff. Like if lockdown didn't exist, I'd want to get a job and work and be busy and potentially go back into education, which is a question later on, so I'll answer that later. I just really hate being stuck indoors. Like I'm not really an outdoorsy person in terms of, you know, sports and stuff, but I love nature and just being outside, and especially the weather, and it's just, I really want to be outside and just like free. I think that's kind of the main thing, and just being able to have the freedom to do whatever I like, because none of us do at the moment, and it's tricky, like being able to be indoors and just in my bed most of the day and ruminating about my thoughts, and it's just not good. It's just not good. It's just not good. I don't know what else I can say. I don't even get to go to my garden. I wish I had a nice garden, but I don't. It's like non-existent. So, you know, going outside like on drives, I go on a drive pretty much every day now for about an hour, and that's the highlight of my day. Like, it's great. I just love being outdoors, but other than that, no, nothing. And it's so sad and gets me really down, I'm not gonna lie. The next question is, how's adults different to camhs? So how's adult services different to camhs? And in all honesty, they're quite similar. Like the system for adults and camhs is actually really similar. Like obviously I don't have much experience with camhs because I was under another service, like a more high like intensity sort of service, but in terms of what I know about camhs, like having, you know, your care coordinator, and then having, you know, weekly sort of appointments with them, and then if anything gets worse, being referred to the crisis team, who sees you however often you need, potentially every day, multiple times a day. And then if obviously anything gets bad, you've got inpatient, and the duty team, like the duty line's always there, out of hours and stuff like that. So it's very, very similar. However, the differences are when you get, you know, a little bit more, more kind of, more like used to the service, because I'm currently seeing my CPNs once a week for meeting, but it's going to be changed to fortnightly. I don't know when, but it will be, and so it's not like, their aim is basically to not have you under the service forever. They want to have you under the service for as little time as possible, which partly is good, partly is bad, because I don't know, you could always lie your way out of it, that's the issue. But at the same time, it's good because they're gonna prepare you to be independent, because what you're getting is not you know, lifelong support, you need to be able to support yourself, and that's good. Also, because you're an adult, this is where it kind of gets really tricky, and I hate it, but suddenly you go from 17 to 18, 1 day's difference, and you are piled on with responsibility, including your own safety. Now, legally, you are responsible for yourself. Your parents are not responsible for you. Your workers, like your care, like your not carers, like your care team, are not responsible for you. So you are like just responsible for your own safety, and it's tricky because I don't want to have to do stuff, but at the same time I know I really want to, and it's conflicting because you're expected to be able to look after yourself and make your own choices when maybe you can't. Like I sometimes just can't, and people don't understand. So I don't know, that's the downside. But my parents, they're looking out for me still, so there's kind of support in that sense. I'm not completely alone. Like, it would be, I think, as much as I hate it and I hate being restricted at home, it's keeping me safe, so win-win, I guess. No, that's not it. It's kind of like a lose-win, but like there's a win. So like I said, the system is the same, but the difference in support feels massive. You just got that responsibility to take care of yourself, and instead of being pushed onto, you know, doing certain things or not doing certain things, it's your responsibility. If you want to self-harm or stop self-harming, but you feel like you need to still do it, they won't stop you. They'll recommend you to stop, but you can keep doing it. If you want to do something, plan something, they can't really do anything about it. If you've got a plan, you can talk over it with them, do your coping strategies, but if you want to do it, just do it. No one will intervene until you've done it, and that's the trickiest part. You've really got to be, you know, very determined and self-motivated and just self-controlled. You've got to have that self-control. Without self-control, you're kind of a bit screwed. So the next question is coping with going back to school after lockdown. So there's going to be a gradual start into schools, from what I'm aware. Like, I know my brother's school, they're going to start a gradual start from about the 1st of June, maybe a bit later than that, where only certain people go in on certain days. So as in certain year groups going on certain days. Everything's staggered, break times will be staggered, even start and finish times of the day will be staggered, so there's as little people in as possible. And I think that's ideal, not only to prevent COVID, but also you can think of it as you having a staged return to school. Think of it, not be selfish, but I think the word is to be selfish, and think of it as it's for you to have that gradual start again. Screw the idea of COVID, like, even though that's the reason, think of it as being for you. And yeah, but I think everyone's going to plan it well, and obviously if you're still really nervous about it, just talk to your teachers, talk to someone who you trust, and be very open and honest, because the beginning part of going back to school, if you hide and suppress how you're feeling about it, and like say the workload, then that's going to be detrimental, because over time, these little kids, bless them, they're not going to shut up, so I'm just going to have to speak over them. So if you're still kind of worried, then like I said, make sure that you speak to someone at the beginning of the start period, because there's going to be very few people in at school. So yeah, there's just not going to be anyone there. So you need to, if you get anxious around people and around massive groups of people and stuff like that, like, just talk straight away, and I can't recommend anything more than that. So the next question is, do you feel there is competition with who is more ill in the mental health community? Yes and no, because although it seems like it's competition and that people are competing, there must be something wrong in someone to believe that they have to and they need to be more ill than someone else, or they have to be worse. I don't think any mental illness can be for attention. Like, if you feel like you have to do something for something, there is a reason. There is something up here that needs to be sorted out. So obviously, yes, people constantly feel like they need to one up someone else. Like, I feel like that it's really bad. Say I see a friend or someone who's done something, or I see these people who've gone into hospital a million times, I'm like, wait, I need to do that too. I just need one admission, or I need just one this, or I need to do this just once, try it, do this and that. But it's to validate myself, to believe that I've got the illness and that I am ill. So, and I think that's what everyone thinks. So obviously there's some sort of screw loose, and you need to tighten that screw, because otherwise you're just going to keep deteriorating. So having the competition mindset, it just means that there's something that you need to sort out and find out what's wrong and why you feel like you need to be worse. The next question is, where would you like to be a year from today? I would love to have a job, have applied for an access course, which I'll talk about later. I'd love to like just have a type of structure in my day, and be able to just have a reason to wake up in the morning. And yeah, I'd love to have independence, because I'll be 19 in a year from now, which is madness. I'd love to drive, have that independence to do what I want, go wherever I want, be trusted to do whatever I want, because I've got no trust at the moment. But I'd love to build that trust with all the relevant people, just to move forward with my life. A year can make a massive difference. I'm just hoping, fingers crossed, that it will, and that I'll be able to cope with my diagnosis, be able to manage my emotions, and just move on and move forward. And I'd love to travel, so that's also an option. The next question is, do you plan on going back to education? If so, what would you like to do? So I briefly touched on this, but I would love to go back to education eventually, and I'm feeling a lot better in myself to be able to actually do it, and I think it would really benefit me. But A-levels are something I do not want to go back into. I really don't want to go to college, because it's just not the right atmosphere for me. So I am thinking of doing an access course, so that I am still able to go on to university. Obviously access courses begin, like, you can do them when you're 19, and I'm 18. I just turned 18, so the next sort of time period that I'll be allowed to do them will be next September, so in 2021. So I have got a year and a half to fill, and I reckon I should ideally get a job, and I think I will get a job in that meantime. Maybe do some travelling if I've got, if COVID's completely gone, not completely gone, but as gone as it can be, and just stuff like that really. I'm hoping next summer, maybe, if I could do some travelling. I'd love to save up, have a job, save up and travel. That would be my ideal year, like gap year, even though I've already had a gap year or two. But and then an access course is a year long. I'd love to do psychology and then go to university the following year, because it's a year long, and do psychology. So that's my plan at the moment, and hopefully it goes well. I'm just like, fingers crossed. I'm touching wood because I don't want to jinx it. And the last question that I'm going to answer, because I'm conscious that it's been a very long time, do you find that certain seasons make your mental health worse? And I think this is a good one to end on, because winter makes my mental health absolutely horrible. The winter, the cold, miserable, it just makes me want to curl up and just cry and die, and it's not very nice. But obviously now it's kind of spring, summertime, the sun's out, everything's all green and bright, and the trees are growing again. They're not all dead and stick-like, they're all nice and full and beautiful. Everything's beautiful, the sun is gorgeous. You can go outside and feel the fresh air and just waft around like woo, and it is the best, most freeing feeling. And summer, I just love it. Like, obviously a lot of people hate it because of scars, feeling absolutely boiling, wearing long sleeves, but all I can suggest is talk to people about your self-harm, so that you are able to freely wear short sleeves. or if you are actively self-harming, you're able to wear like tubey grip bandages or something and be able to wear short sleeves because people know. So just yeah, I can't stress enough how talking to people, because it took me a long time but now I do it, it's honestly a lifesaver, like literally a lifesaver. So yeah, that is the end of my Q&A. I'm really like motivated suddenly to film YouTube videos, so leave me ideas below if you got this far, and I will see you next time very soon for a new video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Stay safe and I'll see you later. Bye.